Hi everyone, this is Arcadey Frekhtman. I'm a New York City personal injury trial attorney. And today I wanted to tell you about the slip and fall, trip and fall mistakes that you should avoid as a client. So if you or a loved one gets involved in either a trip and fall or a slip and fall, any kind of premises liability incident, either on a sidewalk, a supermarket floor, it could be in a building where you fall down and you get injured. How do you avoid mistakes that will kill or hurt your case, your lawsuit? You want your lawsuit to be successful. You want to be someone who gets justice. And what are the pitfalls or the roadblocks on the path to justice? Well, number one would be medical care. If you fell, let's say, in a supermarket, the best thing to do is to call an ambulance right to the scene. That way they arrive at the scene and they confirm you fell here, and you show them why you fell. The crack in the supermarket sidewalk right in front of the market, or the spill, the puddle inside the supermarket, whatever it was. So you have that establishing liability that you really fell there and that there was a defective condition. You also have the fact that you're hurt and now they're taking you to a hospital. So that's very, very important, because a lot of people get hurt, they fall down, but they don't go anywhere. And for whatever reason, sometimes it's even cultural. Like I had one client who was an older lady and she was from Russia, and she fell in a supermarket parking lot really badly, and there was a big crack, very dangerous condition, and she broke her elbow so badly she had to have one of those external metal fixators. But for whatever reason, right when she fell, she thought, well, I fell, it's my problem, I have to deal with my own problems. She tried to drive herself to somewhere. She didn't go to the hospital, so they claimed, well, it didn't even happen, you didn't even fall there. So to avoid all that, just call the ambulance right to the scene and start medical treatment right away. And the other point with medical care is that it's very important to get medical care, whether it's a hospital or if you go to urgent care, and then to follow up with orthopedic, physical therapy, whatever doctor you need for the injuries that you have. Some people have a traumatic brain injury, so they need a neurologist. Others have a broken bone, so they need an orthopedist. And if you don't know, a lawyer can guide you and help you coordinate the medical care. That's very key, because if you don't get treatment, the insurance company is going to say you're not hurt, because if you were hurt, you would get treatment. And treatment is the way that you prove your case. So the more medical records you have, the better your case is, as long as you're going to the right type of doctor and you're getting care. And it's really a win-win situation, because number one, you're making yourself feel better, you're getting the care you need to get back on your feet, and at the same time, you're documenting everything with medical records that'll help you get a bigger settlement or verdict. So that's very important. And you don't want to have a lot of gaps in your treatment. In some cases, like in car accidents, if you have gaps, it kills the entire case, because you have to have a serious injury, and there are 9 different categories. We won't go into it now, but if you don't have that serious injury by law and you have gaps, let's say you don't go anywhere for 3 months, the entire case can be dismissed. In a slip and fall, that's not necessarily true, but it makes the case really weak, because you're not going anywhere. And now the insurance company could argue, wait a minute, they're claiming that they're so hurt, they're asking for millions of dollars, but they didn't go anywhere for 3 months, and it's going to make the case value go down. The other part to avoid with slip and fall or trip and fall cases is you could do an investigation. So failing to do an investigation promptly can be a case killer, because a lot of times people fall due to like ice on a sidewalk, snow and ice. It could be a puddle, it could be oil, any kind of transient condition, meaning that it's temporary. And so it gets removed. So if you fall, of course, call the ambulance first, but if you don't have any witnesses, if no one took a photo, if you're able to, or you're with someone, have someone take a photo on your phone, a video of the condition, then you preserved it. And then once you hire an attorney, the attorney can go out there, take further measurements, photos. If it's a permanent defect, let's say one sidewalk plate of concrete, sidewalk flag, is higher than another, and there's a raise of like 1 inch or 2, well, now the attorney can go there with a safety engineer, they measure it, they see that it's 1 inch, and there are certain laws, like for example in New York, if you have 1/2 inch or more, that qualifies as a tripping hazard by law, and that's an unsafe condition. So then you could read that to the jury under the pattern jury instructions. but other states might have other rules. And if it's really small, if it's like 1/8 of an inch, some jurisdictions may say, well, that's de minimis or that's trivial as a matter of law, and you can't recover for that because it's your fault. You have to just be careful. That's not something they're supposed to fix. So you have to get into all these little details, and the best way to do that is to do an investigation where you have measurements, you have photos, you have everything. That way you can then assess and evaluate and see, is this a good case or is this a bad case? But if you don't do the investigation, then it's like a case killer. Like we had one client who says, oh yeah, I was walking my dog, I wasn't even sure what street I was on, but I know I fell and there was a crack there. And she actually had a really serious injury. I think she broke her leg and she had major surgery with open reduction internal fixation. So we took the case because it was such a serious injury, and we tried to help her. And it was difficult because she didn't even know what street it was on. So we had to start walking around the blocks, in the full 4 or 5 block radius, and she had no photos. And then I think we finally found the location, which we think, we're not certain. And we looked and there was like fresh patchwork. So everything was fixed, and the sidewalk was fixed with fresh concrete. So now how are you going to prove that anything was there? Maybe you could look at Google Maps and go back and find the raised condition in a Google Map photo, but maybe you won't. Sometimes cars block it. So you're making the case really, really weak to the point where it's almost non-winnable. So definitely do an investigation quickly. And the other thing is hire the lawyer quickly. It doesn't make sense to wait. Like she waited 3 or 4 months before hiring a lawyer. That never really helps because evidence gets destroyed, witnesses disappear, memories fade. There's no benefit to waiting, and it doesn't cost you anymore, so you might as well do it right away. And the other thing is, it's really important to communicate with your lawyer. And that goes both ways. Number one, you should tell the lawyer everything, like all the places you're going to treat. If you have something that really explains how this injury has changed your life, like photo albums or witnesses, neighbors, friends, coworkers, provide all that to your lawyer. Set up Zoom calls, phone calls. You have to give that to your lawyer, especially a lot of lawyers. Like we actually ask proactively because we kind of have that in our work plan, but a lot of lawyers don't, right? A lot of lawyers are not going to come to your house and spend time with you and really get into your biography of how you were as a child and what's important to you. They're too busy. They have too many cases. So you have to take the bull by the horns and do it yourself, because if you don't do it, they're not going to do it, and then it's just not going to get done. And then your entire case, you're just another number, you're just another client number, whatever, and there's no story behind it. There's no personality. There's no human factor. And people just say, well, why should I give money to this person? Okay, they fell, who cares? And if you don't have that differentiating quality, then the case value also goes down. So I think it's really important to be able to tell the human story and to give a biography and a story behind each person, especially like where they find joy, what is their passion, what is their purpose, especially if you can get in themes like overcoming obstacles or having a purpose, helping others, being grateful, gratitude, and also perhaps, purposes that are higher than just yourself. But if some people, they do good deeds. Like for example, today there was a client here and he goes to like a program where he lectures and he helps people get out of like addiction and recovery. So it's a purpose higher than himself. He's helping others. So if you are like a teacher, or if there's any way that you help others and contribute to something bigger than yourself, that's always a great thing to explain. And then the other thing is you have to think about like, how do you prove a slip and fall case? Like, how do you win the case? The real fundamental is you either have to prove that the defendant caused and created the condition, meaning, they created the condition, they caused it, maybe they're mopping and they leave a puddle, or the second way is if they knew or should have known about the condition. So if somebody complained, hey, you have a hole in the parking lot, hey, you have in front of your house, there's a sidewalk and there's a raise in the concrete. And then you say, oh yeah, okay, I'll take care of that. And then you don't. Some time passes, like a few months, and you don't take care of it. Now it existed for a few months. You were actually notified about it for a few months. You failed to find it and fix it. Now you're liable. So that's the way you prove liability. So you have to make sure you have that either through witnesses or other like photographs or other types of evidence. And that's critical for liability. So I hope this was helpful. Let us know what questions you have. Please please like and subscribe to our channel. And remember, we are here for you. Our goal is helping serious injury victims and families. And if you have a question, if you need a consultation about your case, we offer free confidential consultations. Just text me, include your name, brief facts, just 1 or 2 sentences about what happened so we can get a picture of it in our mind of what happened, and then a little bit about your injuries, just a sentence or two, and your city as well. And it's 347-566-9595. Okay, everyone, have a great day.